Hi everyone. It's been a long time since I've logged on, and I know many were asking about my whereabouts since September 2023, and I thought it's fair I finally give you all an explanation. An explanation to everything you may have seen, heard, or even witnessed. And this goes out to not only my audience, but to my former friends. I've taken a lot of time between June of 2023 and November of this year, focusing on finding myself, coming forth about everything I have to say and how I want to say it. One thing I cannot stress further enough: what I am providing you are reasonings, explanations, and further context to my situation. I am not providing excuses. Because I have stated plenty of times in the past, I do my best to own up to everything I mess up on. After really looking more into all my wrongdoings in the past few years, I can pinpoint exactly where things went wrong, for my end at least. And while I don't ask for your forgiveness, I simply just want to lay everything to rest and try to come to a mutual understanding. Side note, I will be mentioning a few names in the document, as again, I'm not only speaking out to the audience, but to the people who were hurt. And I want to offer a genuine explanation that I have previously. Now then, I want to explain the events chronologically leading up to the document, starting from 2020. Now, I haven't been public about this, even at the time, but I went through a lot during 2020. A lot of people I considered friends at the time would constantly leave me for one reason or another. I would deal with a lot of hate via social media and Discord servers. I went through a lot of personal problems that would weigh more and more on my mental health, and I just straight up didn't have fun making videos. This was mainly what I refer to as the drought era of my channel, where I was making nothing but reaction videos. Now, rest assured, I blame myself for not doing anything about the reaction problem way back when it was a big problem. And if you still enjoy looking back on those videos fondly, I'm really glad you enjoyed them, and I thank you so much. I stopped doing them around April 2021, and since then, I stepped away from reacting to every video I was interested in. And after the new year hit, I wanted change. I wanted to change the way I made videos, and I wanted to change as a person. I felt there was always something wrong with me. And given the amount of people I let down during 2020, I just wanted to pursue with changing myself as much as I could. And I made a few decisions, such as leaving the Object Show community behind and putting the reaction videos behind me and trying to focus on making other video projects. Because at the time when I left the community, I just had an extremely sour taste in my mouth from it all. Given how many times I was on bad terms with so many people during that time, and my decreased interest in object shows as a whole just skyrocketed, and thus I didn't want to be a part of the community. I felt like it was somewhere where I didn't belong anymore. Thus, I joined in another community that was a little smaller and something that I was much more interested in. And it was a lot more damaging to my self esteem. It made me question a lot about myself. And I felt all this weight that I carried just made me view myself as a terrible person. Thus, I became a lot more arrogant and extremely pushy, which bled into my relationships with my friends. I had many moments of self hatred, panic attacks, lash outs, and it led to me unintentionally hurting people that I otherwise didn't want to hurt at all. And now I want to mention the user you guys all know as Leo Friends, who I had a strong bond with and an extremely close relationship to for years. During this time, we both had our moments of disagreements and some things that kind of bothered one another, but it only seemed like those moments became a lot more frequent, and a lot of the time, I felt I was just holding him back. And all this stress and anxiety and everything, all this together, it caused me to snap. It caused me to insult Leo and his content, saying I didn't want to associate with him nor any of his friend group for that matter, which is a decision I regret to this day. And I only wish I could have handled it so much better. And I tried getting in contact with him via our phone numbers to apologize for everything. But at the same time, I didn't really know what I was talking about. I was poorly conveying everything I was trying to tell him. Even mentioning a comment another friend in the group brought up for validation. But looking back, everything leading up to the explosion, I just wanted to distance myself from Leo and his friends. I didn't want to be his friend, not because I thought he was a bad person and that he was annoying. I just thought the problem was me, and I didn't want to put any of them through further pain. The stuff I said about Leo is what I thought of myself during that time. I was projecting, basically. I would always have episodes of me blowing up and putting myself down for everything, and this was something occurring as far back as 2019, and I didn't want to put anybody through all that again. I always felt the problem was me, and I wanted all of them to see me like that. I wanted them to see me as a bad person I saw myself. And given how I had very complicated and less than pleasant experiences working on Leo's show, Object Hell Again, I just thought that everything was my fault. I felt I just dragged everyone down and I didn't belong anywhere. Thus, I hurt plenty of people I really cared a lot for and said some things that I really didn't mean to say. And for that, I'm truly sorry. And by the time I started talking to Leo again in late 2021, I just wanted to clear everything up and I wanted to offer an actual apology because when I messaged him, I had no idea what I was talking about. I want to say straight up that I've never been the greatest with text messages. I type out a lot of typos and I easily get mixed up with my wording to the point where I end up saying something completely different than what I actually meant. When I told one of my other friends that I didn't want to associate with you or Leo's group anymore, what I meant to say was that I don't want to hurt you guys anymore, and you shouldn't associate with someone like me. But in late 2021, I did actually make a public apology at the time via a reaction video to the final episode of OTA.
Man, I'm sorry if I get a little emotional, but like, I want to take a fucking moment to really, to really thank everyone who's on the stream right now for watching, staying to the end. I want to thank all my friends who, because everything that's been going on and stuff, and everything that's like I want to fucking thank Leo, Ruben, man. Thank you guys so fucking much, man. You guys mean the world to me. I know it's a little weird. I'm getting a little emotional all of a sudden, but especially since I'm fucking streaming and I usually don't get emotional, but going through all of these fucking videos and watching everything again, it's like I really hate taking stuff for granted, and I love that I just made the stream to really take a moment to really fucking watch everything, just really think about everything, and just have a good time because that's at the end of the day, that's what I love to do. I love to have a good time and show support for my friends and not be mad, not be angry, and not be negative. Because I hate being negative. I really fucking do. It's just so. Sometimes it's fucking hard when you're surrounded by negativity sometimes. And it's. And just things fucking happen, man. It's so. It just fucking sucks, you know? And it's. But y'all fucking mean the world to me, bro. Like, y'all don't know, bro. Y'all really mean the world to me. Yeah. And I felt like this was just the perfect time to just to let everything out and really give you guys something fucking honest and something positive to really look back on. So from the fucking bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. Thank you to all my fucking friends for helping me with everything. Thank you to all the fans who've fucking supported me throughout every fucking thing. Not even just this, not even just the past few months, but the entirety of my fucking career. I want to thank my fucking family. I don't get along with them very much, but when I do, they make me feel loved. They make me feel appreciated. And again, I hate being a negative person. I hate yelling. I hate fucking like lashing out at people for no fucking reason. It's I do sometimes take it for granted. But sometimes I that's just sometimes how I like that, how I'm like. And growing up, I always wanted to be a positive person and give the best energy in everything. I wanted to give, I wanted to be a YouTuber to spread positivity and happiness to everything. That's why fucking my name's Hap, obviously. And and seeing that sometimes it can be a little negative, it just kind of, it just, it hurts. It hurts, man. It really, really hurts. It really does. But even if I take what I like, even if I take stuff for granted, I appreciate everything. I appreciate fucking. I appreciate Leo letting me in OT. I appreciate Hydro letting me in fucking HYB. God damn, man. Thank you guys so fucking much. It means so much to me. It really does. There's like 28 people. There's like 28 people watching me fucking cry, and but it's okay. Just sometimes you kind of have to really see that to really understand everything.
So after that live stream, we mostly patched things up for the most part. Granted, I didn't entirely have the best explanations to offer because at the time I was really bad with wording stuff. But after a while, we didn't think much of it. And while there were times during 2022, albeit a little bit brief, I did try to get back into being closer with Leo the same way we had before. But I understand the damage has been done at that point, so I eventually gave him space and stopped talking as much. And fast forward to June of 2022, I was a part of this new friend group in the other community I mentioned. And I happened to invited one of Leo's friends, Ruben, into our group. And during June, I ended up kind of lashing out at the wrong time. Mainly because there was something occurring in said community that I will not bring up. But it was an issue I was tired of seeing, and tired of seeing being repeated over and over again. And I got annoyed. I got frustrated, and I just didn't understand why it was happening still. And Ruben saw me do this at a time that was deemed inappropriate or bad timing, which I'll own up to that. I own up to that. But what he also did is that he started gossiping about this situation to his other friend group. And while I understand that it came off as me wanting attention, it was something that I felt was extremely unnecessary. And while it's one thing to call me out for something that I did, albeit unintentionally doing something at a wrong time, the way he went about it and tried making it such a bigger deal was extremely snakish in a way. And what really kept putting me off is that 2 months later, he would do something extremely similar to that where I leave a group chat and he made a joke while acknowledging that I left the group chat. But again, I didn't pay any mind to this at first. What I did pay mind to is the way one of my friends in both friend groups at the time, Gery. Now, what the doc and other people will tell you is that I had a vendetta against Gery because he joined that old friend group of Ruben's and Leo's. But the thing is that that whole narrative is twisted. While yes, I will 100% acknowledge that there was a point in time I was jealous of Gery for getting closer to the friend group, but that wasn't the reason why I was mad at him during September of 2022. It was because I didn't enjoy how he was treating a lot of my friends at the time. During this time, he had an extremely passive aggressive attitude, and it felt like he was more annoyed with us than anything. Now, I could have handled it better myself, and I'm not denying that there was room for improvement on both ends. But the whole claim of me being jealous of Gery because he was getting closer to Leo's group, while having some weight to it, isn't entirely true. And while I wish I could provide the evidence that supports this claim, this all happened in a Discord call. And the only thing I brought up is that, oh yeah, I know Gery was a part of their group now. Thus, the words became twisted from there. Thus, because of this, Ruben and another friend who I'm not going to mention were bad mouthing me behind my back. Thus, I didn't want anything to do with that group. Thus, this ended up going to Leo's group, and Leo's group started having problems with me again. And after I briefly made up with Ruben in February of 2023, I vented to him about my complications with Leo and Oswald. Oswald being another person who's in Leo's group and was a part of the doc. I've talked about how I have thought about them and I wanted to understand what they had against me and what I did to them so I could come forth and apologize and try to make things up. Thus, Ruben ended up lashing out at me and unadding me. And this both confused and annoyed me at the same time. Because a lot of this was just kind of brought out of nowhere, and I was usually left in the dark. Never really given my full side to anything that happened in 2022, and not understanding why the group in particular has a huge problem with me. Now we fast forward to June of 2023, where Gery, who I brought up previously, ended up one or two. So because of that, I kind of went in and off of Discord. I was taking a break for 1 week, then coming back on the next, then taking a break again. In fact, during the entirety of July, I think I was only on Discord for a total of maybe 3 times. The point is, I took this time to think about myself, my family, and what I wanted to do with my life. And by the end of August 2023, that's when I was getting a lot of signs for something. One of my associates on Twitter DM'd me saying that they were going to cut me from their project because they didn't want me to be in something OSC related, as they assumed that I didn't want to be associated with the OSC anymore going forward. And so I just brushed that off as nothing, stuff like this happens in the industry all the time. But then my relationship partner at the time messaged me saying a lot of really suspicious things regarding my friends in particular. And some of the messages here do express my overall confusion of everything. What was going on? Did something happen? But then after our breakup, I obviously did end up having a mental breakdown, and I did do a few things that I regret. I did publicly talk bad about Ruben in a comment, which is something I will address in a few minutes or so. And in a few days after all that happened, all of that wind down, that's when Ruben, Leo, and a few other people started making community posts about me. And part of me still feels that all of this was just planned behind my back, when I wasn't really interacting with anybody from that group. And I wasn't really doing anything to anybody else on Discord, because I wasn't using Discord around the time. And it turns out, most of what they had to say came from 2021 or 2022, except for the comment that I briefly mentioned. Now that's the gist of everything that led up to this point. To go back to that comment I made about Ruben on that video, that was made purely out of impulse, which isn't an excuse. I want to say that right off the bat. But this was made out of impulse not only because of Ruben lashing out at me, and not only because of the way that he involved his friends gossiping me, but something I was informed shortly before talking to Ruben again in 2023 briefly. He and Oswald partook in a bingo ridiculing my mistakes made in 2021 and 2022. And I assume this is something between them and their friend group, but I'm not going to make assumptions. Regardless, it was something I found extremely tasteful and honestly really petty. Especially considering the fact that they brought up friends that they haven't even talked to in years at that point, as well as my own relationship partner. And again, this was around the time where Ruben was gossiping about me to his friend group, and I never got a say in any of it. To where it really bothered me that people who haven't talked to me in several years, some of whom don't even know me that well, are ridiculing me for stuff that they don't even fully understand. And it all felt really disingenuous and honestly kind of toxic. And while I want to say right off the bat that all of this does not excuse everything that I've done, because I understand that I've made mistakes and I understand I've hurt people. And for as much as I was struggling during that portion when I made that comment, it was still not right. And I apologize for coming off as petty and really snobby during that comment. And I want to bring to light a few things that were not brought up in the doc. For instance, when I wanted to bring back my show, Battle for Generations, Leo would mention that in the doc, he does not approve of me bringing the show back. And for the longest time, I didn't know what his issue was. because none of the friend group was willing to inform me about anything. They never asked me to not do this at all, and they never asked me to take any of their names out. And it was only up until recently until someone reached out to me saying some of the people who worked on the original show were not comfortable being associated with the continuation. And I would have came up with a great compromise as long as they were willing to reach out to me. But they didn't. It also came forward to me that some of the people who weren't involved with the doc in Leo's friend group also have issues with me for stuff I have said in the past. Which, if you're watching this, I have no ill will against you, and I really hope we could put all of that aside. Despite my complications with any of Leo's friends, I want to say that you guys are not bad people at the end of the day. And I'm sorry for how things turned out between all of us. And the main takeaway I want from you guys is this isn't a situation where everything is all black and white. While we all made some less than stellar choices, this video is mainly about me coming forward and apologizing. I want to apologize for all the hell that I've put you guys through. And I'm really sorry things got out of hand the way they did. I understand I said and made a lot of really dumb decisions that didn't help anybody in the long run. And I want to say, I've been looking into therapy for almost 2 years at this point. And I have definitely grown out of my shell away from Discord, away from social media. In the past year alone, I focused a lot more on my social life, who I am as Xavier and not just Hapman. For a while, I've wanted to put all of this behind me, but I never really knew exactly how I was going to do it, or what I was going to do to make things right. But I just want to end this off by saying, you guys are talented people, and I'm sorry to have ever dragged you down and make you think you weren't. And I genuinely do mean that. You guys have a lot of talent, and not just to the people I name dropped in this video, but even to the people a part of Leo's group who I haven't named off, you guys have talent. And while there were points at times where I did bring up some things that wrongly happened on both sides of the spectrum, this is mostly to bring it to light that we all make mistakes. And we all get heated up in a resurgence of distaste for each other. But it shouldn't be this way. It can't always be this way. We're all on this planet for a reason. And we're all on this planet together. And while you have every right to not accept my apology or forgive me or even listen to this, if you did, it means the world to me. And I once again apologize for all the trouble I have caused. And I hope you know that I'm doing everything in my power to move past this and change for the better. And I'm sorry to any of the OSC fans watching this right now, and especially to people who are fans of Leo or Ruben or anybody. Keep supporting your favorite creators. Keep supporting anybody you want to support. And hopefully, I can be one of those people eventually. And a reminder, Leo, Ruben, Oswald, their entire friend group, you guys are decent people. So please, don't let all of this completely define who you are. It's true that both parties were hurt. A lot. But I feel we've all grown since 2021. So keep on growing, and mostly, have respect for yourself. Love yourself. And be sure to be your best you. That's what I'm trying to do, at least. With all that being said, thank you for watching.